What is up, everybody? Welcome in to another special episode of More Important Issues. I'm Caleb Mitchell. Joining me on this one, as always, Landon Raby, and a very, very special guest. It's William Patteson of Fox Sports Knoxville. He's over there. You've heard him on Overtime every day, 6 to 8 p.m. You know him. You love him. It's a great chat. It's a long chat, so we really, really appreciate his time. We just really enjoyed kind of getting into everything. Of course, we talked some Vol football and even some Vol basketball, but we really just breach on every topic. It's a fun one. I hope you guys enjoy it. Listen to some of it. Listen to all of it, please. Definitely listen to some of it. I think you guys will like hearing from William. Just an awesome guy. We've been wanting to do this for a while, so we're glad we finally got to work it out, and got to work it out where we could sit down in person and just kind of hash everything out. We figured it out. We solved all the world's problems all in one night, just like that. Three great minds meeting. But yeah, no, it was a great time. We hope to do it again, hopefully soon, and just get to chat with him and really pick his brain on whatever question pops up. So again, appreciate you guys for listening, watching, wherever you're doing that. Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. And then also share this Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you're sharing stuff. Share this one and go leave a 5-star review on iTunes, Spotify. Leave those reviews, even if you just leave one and say, "Hey, I'm only leaving this because I listened to the episode with William on it and it was awesome, and that's why I'm leaving this." That's fine. I would do the same thing. I might go do that same thing right now, so you should too. Appreciate you guys for listening. Make sure you tune in on Thursdays and Sunday nights for our regular scheduled programming. But for now, enjoy this very, very, very special episode with William Patteson.
Home run, slam dunks, give him six. Boys at MII, they got your big orange face. All year long is the place to be to hear some balls for life talking Tennessee. You hate us if you want, but we sure ain't worried about you. We got more important issues.
We now welcome on to the show a very special guest. He is the host of Overtime here at Fan Run Radio, weekdays 6 to 8. Make sure you tune in. He's also the host of the Patafacts, and he is the Presbyterian Day School's Charlotte G. Neal Spirit Award winner in 2015. It's William Patteson.
You did your research on that one.
I was so excited. I was like, I'm just going to Google him and see if I can find something out there. When I found that, I was like, that's middle school, right?
I mean, yeah. So I graduated PDS 6th grade. So like in Memphis, it's like most, or at least they're like the private schools, it goes to like 6th grade, and then you go like 7th through 12.
Okay.
So I graduated PDS 6th grade, and yes, that was my 6th grade award. So
Yes.
Good stuff there.
Thank you. When I found that, I always want to pull obscure facts.
Sure.
And so I didn't know how obscure I could get. It was like, if he's got a private Instagram or something, I may not be able to find anything good. That was it.
That's a great.
They've got a published brochure that your name's in. That's where I found it.
That is incredible.
Do you have the award still?
I've got it in my house
Okay.
in Memphis. I've got the plaque for it still.
Okay.
And so that's, I assume that's school spirit.
That is.
And so that's carried over. Like you went to how many games did you go to last year?
Went to every Tennessee game last year for Tennessee football. I think in total during my 4 years at Tennessee it was 43.
Wow.
43 games. I think it was 6 different states, 12 different venues. It's cool. I mean, I just love traveling. I love getting to see different environments, right?
Mhm.
To where you're in the SEC, you've got the most passionate fan bases across in the country. And, going to see University of Florida, going to see a game in the Swamp was really cool. Tuscaloosa, LSU, and that LSU game happened to be kind of a blowout and wasn't very loud.
Baton Rouge was a stinker. And I know, and that's not a shot at Baton Rouge or LSU fans. I know what it brings night in, night out.
Oh, yeah.
That was Tennessee's day. And it was, listen, I respect you all are still hungover from Friday night. Like I get the whole, I get the context of it. And I've told Landon, I want to go back for an LSU Alabama game.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Or Florida. Florida would be good too.
And it was rough for us too. Like, so we did this thing that when we went up there, or I guess down there, I guess is the right term for it. We stayed on Bourbon Street and we did this thing called field trip, and they would bus us down in the morning.
Like a party bus?
Yeah.
Kind of thing? Okay.
So we got there. It's 9:00. Everyone is still tired from the night before. And I felt like that was the same type of environment from the LSU fans. And obviously Tennessee got things going quick and things got out of hand. But that was the one stadium I was really disappointed with. Like, obviously Tennessee played so well, but I was like, where's the energy here? And even before the game, I didn't feel it.
No.
I just ate so much food before that I don't even remember what happened.
Yeah, I think I ate enough boudin to like last me a lifetime. Someone had it at tailgate next to us. They had it in the stadium. It was just everywhere.
Yeah.
And the girls were kind of freaked out about it. They're like, yeah, I don't want that. I'm like,
it's a weird dish.
More for me.
I don't know if you ever.
I've never had it. No.
Crawfish. Did you get into that in Baton Rouge?
You see, I'm not a big crawfish guy.
I'm not either. I'm with you.
I've like, crawfish boils are popular, all that. Yeah. I just have never gotten into it. I just don't like, I'm a shrimp guy. I like shrimp.
You don't like sucking the head. That's what it is.
That's one way to put it.
No, yeah. I Coach O wouldn't get me to LSU with that. I know that.
Oh,
that's not on my list. So what's the number one stadium you've been to then?
It's tough. Like, I mean, obviously Neyland Stadium, I think is just
let's remove that. Yeah. Let's remove that.
For me, University of Florida was really cool. Just that's a stadium like growing up where, Tim Tebow was playing there and they were so good. Like they had so much success. And also it's probably the loudest pop of any game I attended. And it was when Trevor Etienne ran that one up the sideline for like 68 yards, whatever it was. When we traveled there, what was it, 23?
Yep.
That was probably the loudest pop of any stadium I had heard outside of Neyland Stadium. So that was cool. That still resonates in my mind.
You like Tom Petty?
Tom Petty was cool too. Like the fourth quarter thing's really cool.
It is cool.
And that was a night game.
Yeah. That's when they get the phone lights out and they get and that's a fan base which there's a lot of ties, the Tom Petty ties to it. They were one of the original, like, we have a fourth quarter song outside of like Wisconsin's Jump Around and stuff like that. We're all gonna sing a song together and lights off, and they bought into it, and it's one of the best.
Oh, for sure.
In fact, I think Tennessee with Garth Brooks was a not a close second, but like it was up there. It was in the top of the ones I've seen.
Yeah. So I'd say Florida was one of my favorites. Georgia, just because of the kind of magnitude of games that I attended where where Tennessee was number one in 2022. Last year, it was a night game, and the crowd was really good for that one as well. I'd say Florida, Georgia, and then I like Bama obviously is like a really good team. I was disappointed with that atmosphere. I felt like all the noise filters out through the way the stadium is built, where there's kind of those pockets in the corners, and I feel like all the noise just comes out of there. Ohio State. I'll give you Ohio State.
Okay.
I really thought that was cool, even though that was a very cold game.
Well, yeah, and Ohio State has, and this is where I think Tennessee is where they're really, really good at the pageantry of college football.
Yeah.
The pregame, the lead into it. The fans are obviously rowdy for four quarters, and that's part of the pageantry of college football. But like I haven't been to Ohio State, and I've been to 8 SEC stadiums. I think I haven't seen a pregame like Tennessee. Like
no.
In fact, it's introduced that way. It's unrivaled in college football. So like it's special. South Carolina. What are your thoughts on South Carolina?
So interesting story about that. I had traveled pretty much to every game from sophomore year on, and sophomore year is when we played South Carolina. That was the only game I didn't attend that year outside of Pitt.
Smart man. We
had my girlfriend at the time. It was her formal that night. So obviously I couldn't skip it. I would have been the bad boyfriend if I didn't go. So that night I'm sitting there watching the game at formal. They had on a huge like Jumbotron screen, whatever it was. And it was just so frustrating watching what happened. Also, my betting app just was constantly out. I think I lost $500 that night, just continuing to double down. But my friends that went, they were right behind the band. And they were like, that was one of the worst experiences ever. Because like Tennessee's, losing, Hendon Hooker had just gone down and the band's just chiming in their music. And you're like, let's get out of here. So I wish I got to see that though.
Landon got better. You missing it is the better story, like the inverse of Landon, who got talked into going Saturday morning.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. I guess one of our other buddies, because I was already going with some guys, and then one of our other buddies was like, yeah, I'll join. Got landed in the car Saturday morning for the South Carolina.
It was tough. The bad thing about it was, like, he was like, it was a great deal. He was like, hey, if you buy the tickets, like, I got our stay, I'll drive. I'm like, yeah, I mean, well, you got
playoff team. Might as well.
My
Yeah.
hands are tied. Like, I
Yeah.
have to do it. So it just sucks that everything and every trip we've been on that we've lost, the trip's been so great that the only thing that just sucks about it is the actual game.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure you have a lot of those too.
Well, I mean, there are plenty of them. Like the Ohio State game, it was really cool. And, going up there was, I'd never been up, to Ohio ever. So that was my first time experiencing it. And I was like, actually, this place is pretty cool. It was freezing cold, but like I enjoyed the Friday night life and, going into the game, I was like, this is a cool venue. A lot of people thought Tennessee would put up a better fight than they did. Or, I mean, hell, win the game. And then just quickly things unraveled. But that was one of the most brutal second halves I think I've ever witnessed. Just freezing cold and like you can't feel your legs.
That's elite.
And the
I'm
game
not
felt
a
like
leave
it was
early.
over too.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
I'm not a leave early person.
I'm not either.
I probably would have left that game early.
I stayed the whole way. I was like, look, I drove all the way up here, paid for the tickets.
That's the hard part about the away games is you never want to leave early because of everything that factors in. Home, it's easier to like reason with and just peace out of there.
Yeah.
But yeah, the away games are tough. I did leave. So in getting into stories about South Carolina, 2015, it was freezing cold and we were not prepared for it. We're like, oh, Columbia, November 1st, it'll be at least 60 degrees. We'll be fine. It was like 30 degrees and snowing.
Yeah.
Very, very underprepared. So we left early. Josh Dobbs had that comeback or 2016. Sorry. No, my years are all messed up. 2014.
Yeah. 2014. Yeah.
So we left early. So 2022, I was like, I'm going to leave early and try it again. I can't be in the stadium if a comeback is on.
Yeah.
But the reason I asked about South Carolina, I think that is the most underrated environment in all of college football. Now, at night, it's got to be at night.
Sure.
I guess I've never been to a day game there, but like I see the stadium. It doesn't look all that impressive during the day. But
let me get y'all's take on this because this is an interesting conversation I had a couple of weeks ago because I did like my top 5 toughest stadiums and I did not have LSU in there because I'm like, if it has to be a certain time of day, then I don't think that should be a top 5 toughest environment. Because, like, in my opinion, it doesn't matter if it's a 12 o'clock game or an 8 o'clock game. I think Neyland Stadium is pretty loud.
Yeah. And
I think there are a lot of environments across college football that are that way. Do you guys factor in the 8 o'clock? It's the pinnacle. It's the loudest it can be versus like the 12 o'clock. It's kind of dead like it was for LSU. Like, do you guys factor that in the nighttime or just the time of day when doing your best environments type of deal?
I haven't really thought about that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it definitely plays a factor. I think, and I'd have to really sit down and think about it because there are so many great environments in college football.
Yeah.
LSU, like initially just pops off the board because it's Death Valley. Like that place is just bananas.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if I sit down and think, I agree with your reasoning of it. I mean, you can't say, well, you don't want to come play here. And then be like, well, maybe at noon you're going to get away with it.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
Yeah, but you might sneak out of here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
And I know Tennessee has those with lesser opponents, right?
Sure.
If you bring Florida in here at noon,
it's going to be loud.
It's going to be nuts. And I think too, part of the LSU was the Will Brooks effect. Like he just recovers that fumble early and then Brian Kelly, I think, watched too much of that Florida game that year. That was when Sunbelt Billy really shined. Like went for it on every fourth down. He went for a ton of fourth downs early. I don't remember exactly what the count was. Failed on almost every single one. I think except for one. And so he did a really good job of helping us suck the life out of that stadium. They were in I think if that first quarter's not so much of us running away, I think you're right. It wasn't crazy, but I think it at least impresses us at some level.
Sure. I just think the stadium, just in general, just how big it is, though. I mean, even kind of walking up to the stadium, I thought it was like, wow, this is, this Death Valley. This is what you grow up watching on SEC on CBS. So I thought that part was cool. I was just a little bit disappointed with the crowd. I will say they've got so many stairs there. So we were on the top, right?
Same.
And I was like, man, I felt like I was on the Stairmaster going up that thing.
Yeah,
We
you go around and around and around
Exactly.
like so many times. I'm like, are we getting any elevation at all?
We rode the elevator down, and all the girlfriends and wives that were with us were like, I think it's just for like disabled people and handicapped. I was like, listen, if I walk down, I'm gonna injure myself and be disabled. So it's like I'm riding this elevator down. It was
There you go.
I mean, I sweat so much at that game.
Oh
and
gosh.
it was tough.
I had a sunburn. I literally had
Yeah.
a sunburn. Like, so I used to always wear like the quarterback, whoever it was. So that year was Hendon Hooker. I had a Hendon Hooker jersey, and literally had a tan just around my neck. It's just like type. I mean, it was a hot day too. Like that was the other part. It was early. You're coming back from Bourbon, and then it was hot as can be. The sun was out, but at least Tennessee had a dominant win.
Yeah, that would have been a tough drive home had Tennessee
Oh
not.
gosh, yeah,
That would have been miserable.
Mhm.
We stayed in a trailer park.
We did.
Really?
Yeah.
How far away?
Like 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah. It
Okay, that's not
wasn't
bad.
No, it'd be like staying out like in Farragut
Okay,
for Knoxville. Now, obviously, well, actually, the area we were in was nice.
Mhm.
It was probably comparable to like Farragut, maybe like
Yeah.
Hardin Valley, not quite developed yet, and then just a trailer park.
Any other Tennessee fans there?
No,
No?
shockingly, no. We stayed in like a semi, like the trailer. I was the one that booked it. I got catfished.
No way.
Well, I was
What?
I was pretty pissed. I ended up messaging with Airbnb that weekend because they didn't have any pictures of the exterior
Mhm.
when I booked it, and the interior looked good enough. Like
Mhm.
it was fine. It
Yeah.
did not look like a trailer. And then when I went back and looked on the updated pictures, they had one picture like kind of the outside of it was like the corner of the house, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
you
you
just
could-
saw siding.
you
That's
could
all
Okay.
kind of tell it was like a modular home trailer type deal. Like you could tell it was not all it cracked up to be. So yeah, it was interesting. I kind of gave up. I don't like dealing with those chat bots.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
though.
That's the fun in it too, though, because we're traveling as college kids. We're trying to find the most inexpensive place
Yeah.
possible. We went to Gainesville. My friends called it the Patteson because we were literally basically in someone's garage, and there were like probably 15 of us. And now the person out there is listening. I hope I don't get in trouble for this, but like on the reservation, we had 4 people.
Okay.
And we had people sleeping outside. We had people sleeping in the kitchen. We had people sleeping on the concrete on the porch. Like, but that's the fun in it too, though. It's
Sure.
like you're there for a weekend. You're
Yeah.
going to blow it out. You go to the game, you experience it. It's fun. And that's the stuff I'm going to miss the most about like, being able to do that every weekend, having the student tickets too, like, having a discount makes it a
Right.
lot easier,
Mhm.
but just stuff like that. That's like memories you'll never forget.
Can I pitch you an away game idea? I think
Sure.
I'm too old for it. but
Sure.
I think it could be right up your alley. You and you definitely want to do it with someone because I'm pitching a dangerous idea. But
Okay.
I mean, you obviously have stayed in some of these absurd ones. Like I know that shack wasn't cheap.
No.
I've seen some stuff in Knoxville posted. Joey stayed in someone's, I don't know what that was in Arkansas last year.
Mhm.
So just go find the most absurdly priced Airbnb in a college town for that
Mhm.
game and just stay the weekend there, go to the game. So it's kind of like these RV tours, but you're
Mhm.
like, no, we're getting down and dirty and we're going to experience Gainesville.
Yeah.
Like, this is how everyone should experience Gainesville.
Yeah. I mean, no, that's exactly. I mean, I just, when you're balling on a budget, you're
Yeah.
trying to figure out like the easiest way to get by, but you end up in those type of situations.
Yeah. I think you
And-
should seek them out.
Yeah.
You should pay $2,000 a night for that shack.
and
It's not-
then you pile everyone in
Yeah.
and then, blow it out. And then
it's only $10 a person at some point.
when we went to Oklahoma, we were in a better spot, but again, it was a smaller place. Some guys in my brother's grade did exactly that. They had a pool in the
Dang.
3-bedroom type of thing. Like they had a very nice place.
Yeah.
And now it was a little bit farther away. And Oklahoma's kind of weird. It's just a bunch of flat land and just
Right.
keeps on expanding. But they did something kind of similar to that. They got a really nice place and kind of blew it out. But I don't know. We always had a thing for finding the smallest place possible
Yeah.
and see how many people we could fit in there.
I love that. I think that should be the way it goes.
Joey's their Airbnb, they had a picture like on Airbnb, and it was the guy had a blanket over a gun.
Oh my gosh.
And he was also his living room. It's like he was like, oh, I got to sign up for Airbnb. And in the middle of his dinner, there's like a bowl of ravioli on the coffee table. It was very weird. I was like,
What in
Joey,
the world?
I was like, Joe, you can't stay there. You can stay with us. Don't,
Yeah.
don't go
Please
stay
don't.
there.
That's like a plot for a horror movie right
Yeah.
there.
I was Yeah, I didn't think we'd ever see him again. His buddies. I was pretty confident of that. So Memphis, born and raised.
Yeah.
Tennessee fan always, or was there influence from Ole Miss, Memphis State,
Yeah,
other schools?
you know,
Even worse.
this is
Yeah.
always an interesting conversation.
Okay.
So my dad and his family all went to Tennessee. My mom's side had some connections to the University of Florida.
Okay.
So I ended up going Florida when I was growing up. And honestly, like people that know me from high school, it was literally a part of my personality. Like I could tell you the ins and outs. I traveled I'd go to a game a year. Obviously being from Memphis,
Yeah.
it was tough to go to every game or, tough to go to any game really. But I was a Florida fan. And I know that's tough for the Tennessee crowd to hear, especially now, working here in Knoxville, working for Fox Sports Knoxville, covering Tennessee for a living. I know that's tough to hear, but I mean, it was a part of me. And like, my thing has always been, if I'm passionate about something, like I'm going to give 110% effort towards that. So like,
So you had the Aaron Hernandez jersey.
well, not that, but I was a big Tebow guy. Like, I mentioned Tebow earlier.
Yeah.
Like when I was, 5 years old, I remember just sitting there in my living room watching him play in like 2007 and stuff like that, to where I would like dress up as Urban Meyer. My aunt who lived in Florida would send me stuff. I had like this Urban Meyer-esque tracksuit I'd wear for every game. Like it was a part of me.
Sure.
And when I got to Tennessee, and I had kind of decided between a couple of different schools, between Missouri and Tennessee for broadcasting.
Sure.
Decided to come here, and I knew that I was going to have a difficult, kind of dilemma. Tennessee and Florida, obviously big rivals. I was there in 2016. I was there for a couple other big games.
There in 2016 in Florida.
I've got
orange?
pictures of. You can see me on
Okay.
TV. I'm in the white section. I'm the only guy wearing a blue shirt. And there's a before and after picture from the first half and the second half, which is funny.
Okay.
But I knew when I got on campus, I was like, look, I can still keep up with Florida. Like, I don't openly root for them. I still keep up with them. I know who the guys are, but I'm paying tuition here for 4 years. I'm going to have a miserable time if I'm the guy that sits there during a game like Alabama in 2022 and doesn't care about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I decided, I was like, look, I'm going to embrace the school I go to. This is going to be a part of me for the rest of my life. I might as well be passionate about it and go with it. And on my birthday, freshman year, I had a Florida shirt on and I wore it to Chipotle just down the street. And I got like 3 or 4 expletive comments.
Sure.
And that's when I was like, okay, it's time to make the switch.
I love that because
bullying got you there.
Oh my God, yeah.
it's kind of like it's your fault that you're a Tennessee fan. Like all this stuff that you're like, I mean, Tennessee loses to Georgia State. Like it's like that's on you. Like me and Caleb didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
Yep.
We can blame our parents for it. You can blame yourself.
But again, growing up, like with my dad's whole side of the family being Tennessee, I mean, I know the ins and outs of Tennessee from that, just being a sports guy. Like,
Well, that's the thing too, is you have that. I think it's insane as a Tennessee fan, born and raised.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
If you had like, if one of my parents went to Florida and I grew up in the Tebow era, I would be an idiot not to cheer for Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
I mean, you're an idiot. Like you made the right decision. The wrong decision, but the right decision.
Yeah. And again, like one of my first jerseys growing up, like it was a LeBron one, it was a Tom Brady one, a Florida one, and then Montario Hardesty was like one of my 4th jerseys. My grandfather got it for me. And like Montario Hardesty, guys like that, I still remember all the bad moments for Tennessee as well.
Yeah.
Mount Cody and the block when Lane Kiffin was coaching for the Vols, like stuff like that. I still remember and, followed throughout. I just, happened to be cheering for a little bit more of a winning team at the time.
Sure. Yeah. No, I get it. I actually, I don't know how old I was, 10 or 11. The stage where you tell your parents you hate them over some squabble you have.
Yeah.
And my dad, I mean, born and raised, like he taught me to hate Alabama. Like, yeah, you love Tennessee, but more importantly, you hate Alabama. For probably like 2 months, I just told him I was an Alabama fan.
Oh, wow.
I was like, I'm an Alabama fan. And I mean, I'm shocked he did not disown me during all that. Yeah, so I guess I carry a little bit of that. But then 2 months later, I was like, yeah, I do not want to be an Alabama fan. And I'm just going to have to get over it and love my dad and move on.
I almost wouldn't want to be a fan of like an Alabama or, like to put it in NBA terms, like a Golden State Warriors fan or a Kansas City Chiefs fan in the NFL. Like they experience success so much to where I feel like it waters down what it means to be a true fan before those moments. Like
Yeah.
for the Grizzlies, like if the Grizzlies ever won the NBA Finals, they're not to the level of a big market that a lot of people would bandwagon onto it. But I just know a lot of people from Memphis that weren't watching games every night in 2017 to 2018 when the Grizzlies were winning, 20 games a night, like I was,
Right.
would celebrate that like they did. And stuff like that always kind of little bugs me just a bit, knowing that there are people that are going to reap the benefits of a winning culture like that when others had to kind of go through the trek. And you could say I'm the same for Tennessee. Like once I get here, Tennessee starts winning football games. But I mean, I still remember growing up watching Tennessee continue to have struggles. And even my freshman year, Tennessee wasn't very good.
Sure.
So
I kind of feel that way now as a Tennessee fan. Like Alabama in 2022, watching people like smoke cigars, I'm like, you haven't earned that. You shouldn't be down the field.
Yeah.
So I think, I experienced a little bit of that I'm like, and I think that's kind of the thing, probably my biggest gripe with like the whole ticket increase stuff is like, it's becoming a social event. You're selling a social event.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the one there when you go 7-5. There's going to be no one in the Yeehaw standing room only section. And I mean, that's whatever. I mean, I got to get over it because I'm going to pay it anyways. So.
Right.
Yeah.
I keep getting I keep complaining about it, and people are like, if you're poor, just say that. I'm like, well, I mean,
yes,
in terms like yes, but I'm dumb enough to continue to pay for these prices and paying even more. I just think like you're not celebrating like those fans that were with you in the tough times. And so like if there is like a bad season like that, then that 20,000 people wait list that me and Caleb think is just totally fake.
Yeah.
I think it's bogus. I was gonna talk about this on the show tomorrow night. I'm gonna end up screwing myself in like 2050. I'm gonna have 40 season tickets because I think next year I'm just gonna create a new account that has no points and just get on a list and just buy tickets every year and be like, there's no waiting list. This doesn't exist.
I had friends that got like last year got 4 tickets. 4
really?
Season tickets.
I think the waiting list exists for the club seats and like good seats, but like you can't just call this person and be like, hey Landon, I got seats in OO. You ready? They're not taking them.
Yeah.
That's my theory.
Yeah.
That is interesting. I mean, I think there is more of a demand.
Yes.
20,000's a lot.
Well, I mean, my phone's right there. I looked it up. I mean, the season tickets for Josh Heupel's first year were like 51,000, I think. And now they're 72. I mean, there's more of a demand for sure.
Yeah. And, the talent fee factors into it. That's a big gripe for a lot of people. I think that's a little murky a little bit as well. And then the consistent increase in price. I think you're catering more towards the fan that's not going to come as rowdy, not going to come as engaged, I think, as you continue to move up the price. Because, yes, there are people that are going to pay it because they just care that much. But you're also kind of axing some of the more passionate fans, the ones that are more middle class or can't, afford to go to every single game at that price. But they're going to be rowdy as can be. They're going to scream on third down. They're going to make noise. I feel like some stadiums and some fan bases have started to exile those type of fans to cater towards a higher demand. And I get that from a Danny White perspective. I get he's trying to make more money. But the older you get, or I guess the more money you go up, the older type fan base you're going to get.
Right.
And those are the type of people that are sitting in those cushioned seats behind the sideline, and they're not standing up on third down. They're not making an impact. And you're taking away what makes one of the best college football environments every night, being the noise factor.
Yeah, all right, absolutely. And you're the older crowd, the corporate crowd, and a lot of people, it's getting really frustrating. They're mad about the secondary market, which Danny White has, I won't say no control over, because going to Ticketmaster is, everyone knows it's a disaster.
Oh yeah.
But they're all mad about the secondary market, and this is going to impact the secondary market. I mean, it's just the way it goes. I think my frustration is ticket prices have gone up every single year I've had them. I've had them for, I think this is year 10, at least, marginally. It is what it is. Inflation, cost, whatever. That's fine. You have renovations. The increase, it's like, all right, what wins too much? Like, are you going to price yourself out of the market here? And then what happens if Tennessee goes 8-4? Like, how many people come back at that price? and then they're not going to go down. They've never gone down.
No.
Like that doesn't happen. So I hope that doesn't happen in Tennessee, but like that's just the nature of it. And so you want to hang like so the tickets I have, they've been in my family since 1972. Like,
okay, wow,
like
really cool,
die hard.
Yeah,
through it all. You lose. I know I'm not the only person out there that has a situation like that. Those are the people you lose when you start just increasing prices just because you're successful.
Yeah,
and I get it's part of it, like for sure. But there's got to be just so you had. I don't remember what it was last year. Was it just the 10% talent fee?
Yeah.
I think it was just for 10% last year and then a 4%. So basically 14% this year.
But it's like the renovations have gone on. I don't know. You have all these major donors. It's just you're sold pilots on the field and on the scoreboard. You've got Food City on Thompson Boyner. It's like, so what's all that for if you're still raking money out of the common fan?
Sure. Well, in 5 years when these renovations are done, are we done doing
that?
Or are we just gonna start something else to like increase prices? And another thing is like him doing this right now is crazy because we don't really know what that schedule looks like next year.
We have zero idea.
Yeah. So like, I mean, are we gonna have another neutral side? Are we having these buy games? Like, if you're gonna increase ticket prices, you have to have better matchups for home games.
Yeah, and I think like at least with the current SEC schedule, like flip flopping from last year, Georgia will be a big one. Oklahoma, I think, will be a pretty big one too. But outside of that,
this is the down year for Tennessee, the odd years.
Yeah, and you're basically like if you're a season ticket consumer, I'm paying to go see ETSU, New Mexico, UAB. I mean, those are games that are not bringing anyone to the table.
Yeah, right.
Arkansas, I guess, is a little bit interesting since you lost him last year, but I mean, that's not one I'm really getting up for. Vanderbilt.
Sam Pittman may be fired by that.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're really paying that type of money to see two big-time games. And one of those is at the very end of the season to where it might not be even a big game.
Right.
So it's not necessarily their fault with the way the SEC schedule works out. I'm interested to see what it looks like next year. As you mentioned, we don't know. But, you know, if I'm the SEC, I'm trying to give Tennessee as many big games as possible because that's a big fan base, does well on TV. I mean, hell, last year, NC State was a primetime game in Charlotte. And that was a blowout, terrible game. Right. But Tennessee brings people to the TV. And if I'm the SEC, give Neyland Stadium some better games, and maybe they'll fix the ticket price.
That's another thing. These TV deals are insane right now. Like I don't know. It's just when is money, as we know with the Nico situation, is not infinite. It is a finite resource. And it's like, all right, so when do we when's enough? Like I have no clue. Speaking of SEC schedule, do you think they should, or do you want them to / think they should go to a 9-game slate?
For me, I think the SEC is already tough enough with 8. I think we'll see it this year to where there are 8 teams right now that I believe are maybe not legitimate college football playoff contenders, but you can make an argument for them.
Sure.
Like some people don't believe in Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma will be good. John Mateer, Jaden Ott at running back. Deion Burks comes back at wide receiver. They got some really good pieces defensively, but that's like a team that's an afterthought right now when you're talking about SEC top tier contenders with Texas, Georgia, Alabama, LSU. I mean, those are 4 top 10 teams right there. So I think the SEC is different from a Big Ten, where the Big Ten will have like an Oregon or Penn State or Ohio State, Michigan on your schedule, and you might have to play 2 or 3 of those at the most. Right. SEC, I mean, you've got some of these teams like Florida's got a gauntlet of a schedule where they're playing like 6 top 25. They play 7 top 25 teams this year in the current AP top 25 rankings. I mean,
Billy's probably fired. They should have just fired him last year because he's probably fired after week 5 this year.
It's going to be tough sledding, but like you take out that Miami matchup, they play 6 teams in their 8-team schedule in the SEC that are going to be top 25. Like that's just really difficult. And adding a 9th, I think you're going to continue to really hurt the conference. So I'm cool with 8.
I think it is. I think you're right that it's better for the conference looking at the college football playoff.
Yeah.
And it's going to take and I think we're just getting closer and closer to the restructuring where it's essentially a super league. And so I think it's better for football to have more high profile games.
Totally agree.
I agree with your college football. Like the SEC, your goal as a conference is to put teams in the college football playoff. And you can't really go to 9 without, you're not watering down your product by any means, but when you look at who's eligible for the college football playoff, it looks watered down.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. I mean, I was just, looking from that SEC perspective,
Absolutely.
but I think last year was the most compelling, most engaging college football season we've ever had because there were 12 teams that made the playoff. And that gave about 20 teams throughout the season this idea that they could possibly make it. And that brings fan bases to the TVs. It continues to have engagement throughout the year, which I think is a really good thing.
I was wrong. I thought.
Oh, you didn't like it?
Well, going into it, I didn't think the 12-team playoff. I just thought it was too much.
Sure.
And I think it probably is, but I'm with you. The back end of the college football slate was very compelling. There were a ton of just, if they win here, if they win out, if this team loses 2 here, like the back end that you had a number 15 team sitting here talking about a national championship.
Yeah.
And they got to go play with that. Yeah, absolutely. I loved it. I wasn't like, oh, burn it down. This is bad for college football, but I didn't think it'd be great. And again, the college football playoff was kind of what we thought it would be.
Sure.
Outside of Oregon, because Ohio State's run. But no, as far as the season goes, the best season of college football I can remember.
Where do y'all sit at the college football playoff? Are y'all good at 12? Do you want to expand?
I'm good at 12.
Good at 12?
I don't think there's – what else are you trying to accomplish other than money?
Right.
Yeah.
I think the only jump I would be okay with is go to 16 to get more home on campus matchups. That's the only one. I think there should be more. I don't think you should be playing neutral site till semifinals. So I think that should already exist. But I would be okay. I don't like that the 1 and 2 loses the bye in that scenario. But I do like more on campus matchups and in a sport that thrives on campus stadiums.
No, I could see that. I'm at 12, and I think I think it was perfect. At least let's ride this thing out for a couple of years.
You get rid of the automatic 4s, and I think
it's
perfect.
What did the Big Ten? What did they want to do? Like 24 teams?
Yeah,
they probably want to do 20 Big Ten teams.
Yeah,
24 to 28 teams, and like I think in the original proposal, like all the Big Ten teams made it. It was just beyond me, but it's what happens when you let these idiots get involved with what was already a good product. Like after the 14 playoff wasn't perfect, but we at least let that thing play out to where like we weren't a year after the 14 playoff first happened saying, okay, time to go to 8, time to go to 6, time to go to 12, whatever it may be. Let's let this thing ride out at 12. I think the seeding is a big deal. I'm glad they changed that because as great of a season as Boise State and Arizona State had last year, Boise State was completely outmatched against Penn State. They had no business getting the automatic bye in that case. Also took away from like a Tennessee that would have hosted an SMU, a Tennessee team that played through a tougher schedule, probably should have hosted a game. So I think the seeding change will be good. And I'm completely fine with 12 because I think we're in for another really good season because of what we had last year.
Agreed. And I would have been interested to see an 18, like what that looked like in terms of the first round matchups and how they select the teams. I think 8 would have been compelling. I like 12, like I said, especially with the seeding fixes. No, I think it's gearing up to be like, especially I also was wrong about NIL. I thought it would, and I think it's allowed the powerhouses to just kind of stay on top. But I also think you can see the parity it's built from top to bottom. Like those top teams are still losing guys too. So it's not the Nick Saban Alabama teams that have 5 stars everywhere, including on the bench. So I was wrong about NIL in terms of parity. And I think it's just created this massive competitive league that I would like. I've always said the G5 should be separate from the Power 4 now. And I would love to see it because I think you would even see even more parity from the last team to the first place team.
Sure.
Not that, teams that I don't know, pick one. Oregon State right now, like they're not going to win or compete for a national championship, but like they might be competitive. They might, and they probably will upset somebody that had a chance. So I think NIL and playoff have been excellent additions to college football.
Yeah. I think with NIL, it helps out some of these guys in the sense of they stay for another year. Ohio State last year, they had a ton of guys that should have been playing on Sundays.
Right.
Came back to go win a national championship. Came back because they wanted to do it that senior class. With NIL, they were able to do that.
They wanted to beat Michigan. Did they?
They didn't do that. We'll see if they do that this year.
I want to go a little bit back to high school. You
Sure.
mentioned that you were gonna do broadcasting.
Yeah.
Is that something you've always wanted to do, or did you kind of grow up playing sports and
Yeah,
how did that work?
I loved playing basketball growing up. I played until I was in 10th grade. I quit growing, and that's when I decided I was like, okay, yeah, 5'9" guys probably not going to play.
In Memphis?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 5'9", white guy in Memphis is not going to make it to college basketball. So that's when I officially hung it up. But growing up, one of my favorite things to do was play outside and be creative. I used to, build forts, and I'd set up a football field with, these two like little plastic goalposts that you could buy. But one of my favorite things, I had 2 basketball goals on this pool deck, and I would go get duct tape from Home Depot and duct tape a basketball court, and I'd play out there for hours, and I'd commentate like I was playing. So like it'd be William Patteson playing, like if he did grow up to be a 6'4", basketball player. But I did that for years, and I always knew I wanted to be a broadcaster from really that point on. Growing up watching the SEC on CBS, Vern Lundquist was one of my first guys that I really resonated with. I used to call him Puffy Cheeks when I was younger. Like I didn't know his name, but I called him Puffy Cheeks. And like just from that point on, I knew I wanted to do it. The first time I really had any experience with it was at St. Louis School, which is a Catholic school in Memphis. I went there for a year, and they had a radio station there, a radio show. And I like to talk in class. I like sports. And naturally, you put those two together.
Yep.
The leader of the radio show came up to me and was like, hey, would you want to come on and, possibly be a part of SLS radio? I said, sure. I'll try it out. And I did some sports stuff there. And that was my first real experience with it. When I got to MUS, the social media team there was kind of non-existent. There wasn't one.
Sure.
And my sophomore year, myself and another guy named Michael started MUS Athletics, and it still runs to this day. I'm actually making a video for them tomorrow for their hype video. But we
Spirit Award.
Yes.
Spirit Award. Alive and well.
Carry on.
And we would do graphic design for them and videos, and we kind of had a lot of creative control over it. So I was like, I want to be a broadcaster. Let me, kind of get involved and try to do something, more tailored to my future. So we were playing White Station one night, and we won the game, and I decided to do a couple of interviews. I did 3 interviews, and we had a tripod and an iPad. We had no mics or anything, but I just stood there and interviewed the coach and 2 players. And we got such a great reception from it of a lot of people saying, I love this. Let's do more of these, yada, yada. A couple of weeks later, we bought a microphone for it, and we started doing it for every game for basketball and football. And then it grew to where I'd go to the baseball games, interview them. We'd get I did a fencing interview. I did all of it. And that was really cool. And that's what really started getting it going. They call me the voice of MUS Athletics back in the day. And we even did a couple of shows too. When we played Christian Brothers, which is MUS's biggest rival, before the game that week, that week leading up to the game, I should say, I was like, let's do like a college game day type of deal where let's have a desk, we'll have a panel, we'll have a couple of guests, and we'll do a guest picker. And we ended up doing it. And it was one of the coolest things for me in high school, to where we had our old headmaster come back, and he did the headgear pick. He put on the owl's head and everything. It was awesome. And from that point on, they just continued to kind of let me have whatever creativity I wanted over it, to where once we got into senior year with COVID, we do remote shows, like leading up to the state championship game and leading up to some big games throughout the season. So
wow, that's neat.
That's what really got it going. And, it's pretty cool looking back on all of it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What do you think? What do you think about Mike Keith? Like, what are your? Is that because I assume Titans fan?
Jaguars fan.
Okay. I think I did know that.
But Mike Keith's the reason why I'm at Tennessee.
Okay.
Mike Keith came and spoke to us my junior year of high school, and he was friends or grew up with our wrestling coach, Coach Lewis. And Keith came and spoke to us, and after chapel, my headmaster or our headmaster at MUS came up to me and goes, I want you to meet him. So I went up there and we probably talked for 45 minutes, exchanged emails. It was about 2 weeks before COVID happened. So at the time I was supposed to go up in Nashville to their training camp, get to tour things, kind of see what they were doing. Now I didn't get able to do that, but I did keep in touch with him. And I had toured Missouri that year. I loved it. I thought it was really cool. And they had a great broadcasting program. That's where I was going to go. But the problem was I didn't know a whole lot of people there. And I'd gotten into Tennessee and it's, early March. I've got to make a decision. And I emailed Mike and I was like, look, I'm kind of torn here. Missouri's got a really good program for broadcasting. I know a lot more people at Tennessee, but I don't know as much about their broadcasting program. What do I do? And I mean, he didn't have to do all of this, by the way. Like I'm just a senior in high school.
Sure.
Gave me this really long, really thoughtful email. And at the very end of it, it always sticks with me to this day. He goes, at the end of the day, William, Vols help Vols. And that still resonates with me to this day, to where after he said that, I call my dad, I go, I'm going to Tennessee. And I next day signed the paper for it. And
like a 5-star recruit.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just like, but it's one of those moments. So like, I was so torn. I didn't know what to do. And Mike has been so helpful to me and still to this day. I mean, keep in contact with him. He's a pro and he's a guy that is willing to help the younger generation too, which I have a lot of respect for.
Yeah. I've noticed that he's brought in a lot of, I'm sure mostly students that are working with him. Like he's got them all over the Mike Key show.
I didn't know he was out recruiting though.
Yeah. Right. I've enjoyed the Mike Key show. I think he's going to be, I've always thought he's a great steward for Tennessee.
Yeah.
He's going to be phenomenal. Listening to the way he's preparing for this season, like the way he's not going to try to be, he's not John Ward. He's not going to try to be John Ward, but like he knows how special he was. And when you work for a guy like that, you're going to draw things from. It's just natural.
Yeah.
So he's going to use, the way he's going to use that. And I've told Landon, and I think I talked about it on our show. I bought a radio. I bought a portable radio. I'll be listening to Mike Keith in the stadium.
That's awesome. So
I'm officially an old man.
Yeah.
But probably binoculars soon too.
Yeah. Not yet. Not yet.
On the broadcaster note, I think he's got to bring Sack with him.
I think he will.
I think he will too.
I think he will. He'll bring he always brings energy to every call. Mm-hmm. And I think the toughest thing about being a radio broadcaster as opposed to a TV broadcaster, you're basically the illustrator on the radio. You've got to detail everything. So if like a Chris Brazel's in motion from the left side to the right side, you've got to detail that. And that type of stuff is the thing that I don't think a lot of people that, don't listen to radio or, don't know the difference between the two. So he's got to go so in depth, and then he's got to still have that same energy. So I think it's a really unique thing that he has. And Sack, I'm sure, will be a big time hit. I'm sure he'll come up with one too. And usually a lot of the calls just come out of nowhere. Sure. It's kind of the first thing you think of,
Have you heard his I can't remember what he was speaking at, but his introduction to Tennessee running on the field.
What was it? It was, I think I saw the video of it a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I can't remember how he kind of all plays it out, but he says, band makes their way towards the north end zone.
Yeah.
They'll form the power tee like they have for, I can't remember how many years now. Just talking about how he like paints the picture. I'm like, yeah, you can see it and you can feel it. And then he's got it's football time in Tennessee. Like he's got it.
Oh yeah. I mean, he was a pro.
And Bob was great. Bob got a lot of crap. It's funny you mentioned Vern Lundquist, and then we mentioned Bob Kessling, two guys who I think are really great at their craft. Some things I got annoyed with from each of them. It was one of those, like, they just get piled on. Like, they were kind of the easy targets for Twitter or social media. But, I mean, just two guys that were really, really good.
Yeah. Bob was very nice to me as well. He came and spoke to one of my classes sophomore year, and I've always been a guy, if I meet someone, I want to, exchange numbers. You never know who could help you out one day. Sure. And last summer, we had a thing for the Knoxville Smokies, and I was going to go call the game up there with their crew. And I emailed Bob. I was like, hey, do you have a rundown sheet or a spot chart that I could kind of go off of, a reference?
Mhm.
And he mailed them to me and, said if I ever wanted to have him on my show, he could. So I had Bob on right before the season began last year. But again, just like a guy that's been through it all, experienced it all,
Yeah.
willing to help out, younger generations, I think is really cool. He's a great guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And a dude who's given his all for Tennessee. That's what, man, they're in that Jeremy Pruitt era when I listen to some radio calls. I'm like,
Yeah.
I can hear the fandom in his voice.
Yeah.
The sadness and disappointment.
Yeah.
And I feel for him because he's just, whew.
Do you think that's why he was kind of an easy target? Tennessee was so bad that they were
Yes.
just looking for somebody
Yeah.
to blame.
Yes. I think I think he was an excellent broadcaster. I think he lacks some of the energy that you want out of a hometown broadcaster.
Sure.
And and that's a personal thing in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I personally want that. Like, that's one reason I love Mike Keith is like, you're going to know you're listening to a
Uh-huh.
There's zero doubt in your mind. You're listening to a Tennessee broadcast when he's on. And not that Bob didn't get excited at times and you could hear it in his voice. And it helped, blanking on his name for football. Tim Priest was next to him sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Like the Juwan Jennings touchdown in 2016 when he yells, "Get you some of that tease." Like, that's just all time.
Yeah.
And Bob's excited in that call too. So yeah, I think he just lacked what a lot of people like Eli Golding at Alabama.
Sure.
You knew you were listening to the Alabama call.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn, I mean, those guys were screaming through the mic anytime Auburn did anything semi-exciting. And sometimes but like the thing is, like, I think when you look at now, Eli Golding's he's up there too, like phenomenal. Like Auburn, they've got the Auburn's going to win the football game call.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I think they're not painting the picture like you talked about.
Sure.
They're great in terms of energy, but they don't. Bob did better at describing what was happening.
I think the other thing too with Kessling, it's tough to follow up and act like Ward.
Sure.
To where like Kessling was there with the Vol Network and had been involved, and I think had learned a lot from Ward. But it's tough to be that next guy like Kalen DeBoer right now at Alabama. It doesn't matter what he does over the next couple of years. If he's going to win a national championship, everyone's just going to compare him to the guy before him, and that was Nick Saban. So like
Holly Warlick was another one that just chance.
Oh yeah. Just a tough job,
I don't. That buyout better be real sweet for me to take the Alabama job. I don't care what kind of coach I am. Like, that's the worst job in the country at the moment.
Totally.
Even
agree.
in every article about Alabama, it still mentions Nick Saban.
Yeah.
They probably sprinkle in some Bear Bryant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd guarantee it. On the college football, talking about coaches, we did this the other day. Who's the most overrated team this year?
Overrated. Wow, good question. SMU is the first team that pops off my head. I think Kevin Jennings really showed himself last year in those final two games against Clemson and Penn State. 5 interceptions. He was messy. And granted, those were really good teams.
Sure.
But Clemson was 9-3 going into that ACC championship game. SMU had the benefit of a little bit of a lighter schedule, but that shouldn't have been a game that SMU on paper won, just looking at how the two teams played that year. And Jennings really struggled against two competent teams. And I think SMU's schedule is tougher this year, where they play Miami. They play Baylor. I don't think they'll beat Baylor. I don't like their matchup against Louisville either. And I could also see them maybe losing to a TCU. Like, there are 4 games on that schedule that I believe they could lose, and they lose a ton of defensive pieces from last year as well, to where I know this was a team in the college football playoff, but let's pump the brakes and really look at this team from last year to this year. And I think SMU is – I didn't even have them ranked. I didn't have them as a top 25 team in my rankings, and yet they were, 16 in the AP top 25 poll? So SMU would be my first one. I could see a little bit with Miami as well, but
yeah, that's an interesting one. They just relied so much on Cam Ward's magic.
and
they're a good team. So
Yeah.
it's
I
just
feel like
a
they're
weird
always
one.
like overrated. Like they're always a preseason darling.
kind of like Texas A&M too.
Yeah.
Like Texas A&M is always one of those teams, and I think they'll be good this year. But with Miami, is you lose a lot of pieces from last year.
What's good for Texas A&M? Like 9-3, 8-4 is pretty good.
Texas 8-4, is that what they call them?
I think 9-3 is achievable. They just have a tough schedule.
It is, no, It is. I'm never gonna really believe in them because they haven't done it.
I like Elko. Marcel Reed went to NBA. We played him a couple times in the state playoffs back when he was like a freshman in high school, and he was still doing the same thing he does right now.
Yeah.
He's good. But I think Elko will be better in year 2. And I think they did a good job through the portal. Now, they're just in that same avenue like we were talking about earlier. There's so many good SEC teams, but someone's going to have to lose.
Right.
And they might be one of those teams.
Elko's a weird one. I think he's a good coach, and preface this with I think he's a better head football coach than Billy Napier.
Mm-hmm.
But they both feel like they got to a really, really prominent place too early. Like I'm like, I think they could have waited a few years.
Sure.
I don't know. It just seems not quite like I think Billy got to Florida. Like that's a tough job. Like it's an easy job to win at, but it's a tough job to stay in their good graces.
It's a tough job to jump from Louisiana Lafayette.
Yes.
Like, and Elko was at Duke, which is
Right.
a respectable place, and you could see a better transition there. But Louisiana Lafayette to Florida is tough.
I think Elko for me is the reason I think it's true. Like that magic at Duke just seemed like
Mhm.
rushed. Like there wasn't really.
Sure.
It didn't feel built. It felt kind of like
Well, it
they
felt
hit
like
the
he
right
took over
parts.
for Chavis, and that's where he
Didn't
he finally got.
Right?
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry,
Yeah.
Cutcliffe. Yeah,
One of the coordinators.
Yeah, somebody. And then it's almost like they got like where they're like at least recognizable as a decent
Mhm.
team, and then Elko was there, and then he gets this.
Yeah, I feel like he
Mhm.
really hit all the right pieces, which I mean that's part of being a coach, right? I mean,
Yeah.
just getting the right things to click at the right time. That's gonna be key for Josh Heupel this year, who's got a talented squad, but a lot of just like weird moving parts to piece together.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about you had a tweet about Joey Aguilar. What's your take on the quarterback situation?
My thing with Joey is, at least with his interview today, and this is, on Wednesday, I think he's a guy that is grateful for the opportunity.
Sure.
And I know we're, in the business of analyzing, gameplay and how they perform and stuff like that. But it just, at least on the surface, he was talking all about how grateful he is for the opportunity to play for the University of Tennessee. And I think that's big, coming off of a guy, Nico Iamaleava, that never could take off his cool jacket, wasn't very connective in the locker room with his teammates, and obviously had the falling out that he did. I think it's a breath of fresh air to have a guy that is exuberant to play for Tennessee. So outside of what he may do and what I may think of what he can do this upcoming season, I like that part of it. Now, in terms of, the analytical side, I think Joey will be just fine. And I think that's like just the floor. Now, his ceiling will be dependent on if he's able to hit the deep ball down the field. I know he's a gunslinger and know he had interceptions last year at Appalachian State. But Heupel's got a system to where it's so structured and there's such a great blueprint to where I don't think he's going to be put in those type of situations to turn the ball over a lot. Like Joe Milton was a mess before he got to Tennessee. At Michigan, he was horrible.
Right.
And he got to Tennessee, and he wasn't like a Heisman candidate, but he was still a good quarterback and was a guy that got you to 9 wins.
Yep.
And Hendon Hooker will always be the pinnacle of what a Tennessee quarterback can be. And everyone's going to continue to compare the next guy in line to him until one succeeds him. But I think Joey's a guy that can get you to 9 wins. I just don't think Tennessee is a better football team all around than Georgia, Alabama, and Florida on their schedule. So I think Joey will do enough to get you the games you're supposed to win. I don't think he's going to be more than enough to win you the games that you're not supposed to.
Yeah, I like that take. And I think, too, part of it is the schedule sets up where you don't need a world beater.
Yeah.
Now, going back into the gunslinger aspect of it, those are the guys, though, that they can win you the big games.
Sure.
They should.
Yeah.
So if he can, like you said, that this Josh Heupel system that sets him up to not put him in those hairy situations, but if he can have that gunslinger mentality at the right moments, then you're talking about like, hey, maybe you go into Gainesville for the first time in 20 plus years and find a way to win. And, he has a, like the crazy gunslingers like that pop into your head. Like they have to be like guys like Johnny Manziel. Then, especially like when you're looking at talent versus what they did. Baker Mayfield pops into
Drew Lock.
Yeah.
who Josh Heupel coached.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, not a gunslinger, but he will throw. That 4th and 1 play still is crazy to me. But Diego Pavia, like, he's going to take chances.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to try to risk it. And I mean, that ends up being enough to beat Alabama. And so I think that's an interesting aspect to him. But then you get into, can he refrain from doing that in moments where it's like, just don't make the worst mistake possible?
Yeah. Well, I think the best trait of a quarterback outside of being able to extend plays is to not make bad plays.
Mhm.
Like, you don't have to necessarily have 400 yards and 5 touchdowns and wow everyone that way. You could have 200 yards and a touchdown, and I'm just fine as long as you don't put the ball in harm's way, as long as you don't throw an interception, as long as you don't have a fumble. That type of stuff I'm fine with, and I think that's what Joey can be. I think what makes Tennessee reach their full ceiling this year and what makes Joey reach his full ceiling, if he's able to be a 40% guy down the field. And what I mean by that is a guy that can hit 40% of his deep balls. Last year, Nico Imaliava, if I'm being generous, was probably a 20% guy. Like, so many overthrows. I've gone back and watched
Was
tape.
that article true?
Which one?
He hit 6 50-plus yard passes, and that was 2nd in the SEC.
It may be, but that's a skewed stat in my eyes.
Yeah. But still, 6 being the 2nd most in the SEC seems, in this era, seems wild. Which I know when you look at the quarterback class, like, but I mean, I would think, Ewers, which he banged up some of the year, I would think he threw more than 6. I think Diego Pavia threw more than 6. Honestly, with just how many chances they take.
Yeah.
I can't remember when Lagway came in. What game? I guess it was after the Tennessee game. I mean, you'd think he threw more than 6. It's just like all these guys that pop into your head. I'm like, Sellers, I would think threw at least close to that. So maybe Todd for 2nd. I don't know.
Lagway had 12 40-yard completions, which was
Okay.
the best in the SEC. But
Those guys got to work on their yak and help their boy out.
Well, that's what I'm interested. I mean, if we're talking about like just because like Dante Thornton had that 75-yard touchdown against Oklahoma, but that was like a 25-yard throw in the air. So
if that, I mean, it was a deep slant. 15 yards.
Yeah, right. It was 15. Yeah,
another
probably.
one against
Vanderbilt was a short throw. I can't remember exactly what the route was, but it was a short throw, and he took off.
So I guess like if we're counting that, sure.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the ones that are 30 plus yards down the field.
The ones he overthrew a lot last year.
And if Joey can hit on 40% of those, I think you'll be at least in a competitive spot to be able to beat some of those teams that are better than you on paper.
Yeah.
Right.
Receivers also a big part of that. Like
gosh, yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of overthrows. There was also a lot of drops. Like the wide receivers did not help us at all.
And it's interesting. If you could, sit down and kind of iron all that out with Nico, it's like how much of not being able to fully trust your receivers was like, you never underthrow them at some point.
Yeah.
And give them a chance to make a catch and make a play. And I can't think of, I think he overthrew or underthrew. It might've been Dante Thornton again in the Vanderbilt game that got picked off.
Yeah. That was a duck too.
Yeah. It's like you gave him a chance, sort of.
Yeah. Yeah. If that.
You threw it to a safety that was way out of position. But yeah, it's just not a lot of giving your receivers chances.
Yeah.
I mean, if he can just do that, it's like, let's blame the receiver if they don't make the play. Let's do that.
Well, on the topic of receivers, I'll flip this to y'all. I mean, in my opinion, I think receivers is the biggest question mark on this team. Would y'all agree with that, or is there another spot y'all look at?
Yeah.
Just because I don't think you were phenomenal at quarterback last year, I don't think like quarterback is the biggest question mark. It could be, I guess.
I mean, I think by nature of just the position, it's probably my biggest, like, what can Joey do? But yeah, I mean, just looking at
with injuries and all that,
like,
being on.
Why did Mike Matthews never really get an opportunity last year? We'll blow him out. Like, if it's almost gonna be more frustrating if he
has a good
catches
year
for 700 yards and 6 touchdowns. Like, all right, what were we doing?
Or Chris Brazel, why did that not take off last year like everybody expected it to? Or if you're so banged up at the slot, why didn't Braylon Staley get more of an opportunity? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think it's a huge question. Injuries, which is something we didn't expect. It was a question before we realized how banged up that room was. And now you're like, a lot of freshmen could be playing. I mean, I have a freshman starting against Syracuse, depending on how healthy they are. It's good they're all back now, but.
Well, I'll present this because, like, when you look at Tennessee in the Josh Heupel era, there's always been at least one starter receiver that's gotten hurt. Like, even going back to like Cedric Tillman in 2022, like you had Ramal Keaton come in. In 23, it was Brew McCoy, and last year it was a plethora of guys.
All of them.
So yeah, so like odds tell you there's gonna be a starter that goes down, and you're gonna have to have big time production from one of your freshman receivers. And I mean, that's a positive, I guess, for the long term. That's scary if you get an SEC play and you got a guy that just doesn't have that much experience.
Right. It's more of a positive this year than it has been because you have two legit guys like on paper.
Yeah,
they can go out and play. So that's
it does help that like freshman isn't. It seems like it's an easier position to play as a freshman. I mean, you saw.
Yeah, they're not linebackers.
Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, Jeremiah Smith, Ron Williams.
Yeah.
Who's the guy from Texas?
Wingo.
Yeah. So it can be done.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good thing where you're not like, they're not automatically there to be your number one receiver. But I think it's been good for them in fall camp. Like, hey, this is your opportunity to go win a job. And it seems like they've made the most of their opportunities.
Do you have a hot take, whether it be about Tennessee or just college football in general, that you've either said or you're working out, like it's kind of been brewing up there and
see, I'm not a hot take guy because I always fully believe everything I say. So I'll give you this. I'll give you two of them. I don't think Ty Simpson's going to be very good.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
And a lot of Alabama people push back on that.
I don't want him to be good. I'm against him. The fact that like his name's Ty and they could like roll Ty, like it's kind of sick. I won't lie.
Yeah.
Well,
it's kind of sick.
My thing, there are a couple of things here. They could have rolled Ty for the last 4 years he's been there, but they haven't. Keep in mind he had an opportunity to play when they played against South Florida. He had an opportunity, it did not cut it. And I get it was early in his career, but what has annoyed me so much is that everyone's rebuttal to when I say I don't think Ty Simpson's going to be good, and I list out why. They're like, well, Mac Jones had so much success at Alabama. Well, Greg McElroy had so much. Pipe down, hold on. Mac Jones was surrounded by a really, really good team, and Alabama has a good team this year too, so I can get around that one. But
are they Pro Bowlers?
Exactly.
Like those guys were obvious Pro Bowlers.
Yeah. I think they do have a good offensive line. Like Ryan Williams is really strong. I like their pieces defensively. But where I get everyone is when I say Nick Saban's not on that sideline anymore, and the in-game adjustments that he made every year are just too good to, not count for.
Right.
The second thing, it's not the same era of college football. NIL has now given a lot of other teams an opportunity to be really, really competitive and have really good guys and have guys come back another year. And we're in the 12-team format to where you now have to play more games. So when people tell me that Ty Simpson's going to be this next big thing and get Alabama to the college football playoff championship game, I'm like, you can't use Mac Jones as your example because it's not even the same. That was COVID year, for crying out loud.
And
what asterisk? I like that.
And what did we think about Mac Jones prior to him being Mac Jones? Let's go back and look. You weren't. This is the next great Alabama quarterback.
Yeah, you weren't.
So that's even crazier to kind of compare. It's like, could he be? Sure, whatever.
Yeah.
I guess. But I'm with you. I'm not bought in on that hype. I think he could be one of the better ones in the SEC this year, potentially, because I just don't believe in a lot of the SEC quarterbacks. I don't believe Garrett Nussmeier is going to throw for a lot of yards. Like Brian Kelly's offense, they're going to throw for a lot of yards. I think he's going to still throw 12 interceptions. I think Brian Kelly's going to coach him out of a game or two. They were an egregious call away from going 7-5 last year. An egregious call. One that, if the NCAA comes out and goes, we're reversing that, South Carolina wins, I'm like, I get that. All right.
I'm an LSU. I like Garrett Nussmeier this year.
Maybe he matured. I just feel like we've seen the pinnacle of Garrett Nussmeier, and it's not. It's definitely not a national champion in my opinion.
I don't think they're a national championship team. I think they're a contender. I think this would be the best team they have with Brian Kelly. But I think the SEC's got a really strong quarterback class. I firmly agree with that, or firmly think that. So
you've got Sellers, DJ Lagway. What's your Gunnar Stockton? Are you high on him?
I didn't have Stockton. I'm not as high on, but George is such a plug and play thing to where, and again, people will be like, okay, how do you like Gunnar Stockton if you don't like Ty Simpson? Gunnar Stockton is with Kirby Smart again, and you just saw Stetson Bennett, a guy that should be doing DoorDash, win him a national championship. Right. So I think Stockton will be fine because last year with Beck, Georgia was number one in drops in the country, and they went and totally reloaded that receiver room. So I think they'll be good. I think their biggest thing is just establishing the run, and as long as they do that, Gunnar Stockton will be just fine.
Sure.
But my guy, so I had Arch at 1, at least in the SEC,
Which
or Nussmeier at 1. Excuse me.
okay, Arch, I'm like, I see it.
Yeah.
I've just got to actually see.
Sure.
It. That's for me. But I agree that he's up there in that.
Yeah.
I'm
He's a
saying,
ton
like,
of weapons too.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I'm going like top quarterbacks, he's definitely
Mhm.
on that list for sure.
So I had Nuss at 1, Arch at 2, Lagway at 3, Mateer at 4,
Okay.
and then Sellers at 5, I think was the order I had.
And then I think right now with what we know and / think we know, like I think that's really like after that, it's like, oh, what could it be?
Yeah, and definitely you could get into that.
And that's why I think Kyle Simpson could end up being 6th
Sure.
best in the SEC, which is not too shabby. Like you said, I mean, Arch Manning's already talking about the next draft that is even eligible for.
Yeah. Yeah. Austin Simmons is another interesting one.
Okay.
Ole Miss.
And
Blake Shapen.
yeah, Shapen's interesting. Like, I'm not as big on Simmons either because, like, I mean, obviously being from Memphis, there are a lot of Ole Miss fans, and they're like, William, I don't know, Simmons is gonna be so good. I'm like, well, hold on. He had one good drive against Georgia. Keep in mind, Georgia was game planning for a pocket passer, not a dual threat guy, and he may be good, but I'm not basing it off of one drive. The same way I'm not basing Steve Angeli off of one drive against Penn State, which was really cool, and I loved it because I bet Notre Dame in the game. I loved it. But I'm not saying that he's going to be some great quarterback at Syracuse just because he had one good run. Keep in mind, the guy was there for 4 years and didn't do anything.
Yeah, right. No, I love the Ty Simpson hot take. I love that you're not a hot take guy because I think I'm not a big hot take guy. I'll
Mhm.
throw some out there because I let them brew for a minute,
Mhm.
and then I try to really nail it down because
Mhm.
I'm with you. I want to believe what I say.
Yeah.
So like try to really other than because I like throwing out conspiracy theories like my 20,000 seat or 20,000 wait
Yeah,
list.
yeah.
That one, which I'm pretty confident in.
Yeah.
We're not gonna call it conspiracy anymore. So it's like stuff like that. I like getting it on. But yeah, I guess you're not really a hot take guy. You'll throw out some on Twitter sometimes, and I'm like, I don't know if he believes that.
I'll probably just
get into
engagement farming. That's what it's called.
See, that's the thing. That's what's become so popular now. So, like, if you say something that like a lot of people might not agree with, it becomes, oh, this is an engagement baiter. Oh, this guy's a hot take guy. And there's a difference. Like, there's this guy that does an SEC podcast or something, and he just put out this week that he believes Mississippi State will beat Tennessee. And like that type of stuff is just so asinine to where, like, you can clearly see what he's trying to do. And I think that type of stuff is bad. But like, I'll catch a lot of flack on a lot of the things I say, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, engagement baiting." I firmly believe it. I think if you build your fan base or build your whole personality off of being the guy that's trying to be wrong, then why should people tune into you anyway?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that's how it's like shaped out where the hate watching, hate listening has become such a thing.
Yeah.
And I kind of I wish I could do that because I mean, look at which Stephen A is a example that's tough because he's really good at what he does, but he's also like, I will throw out the dumbest thing in the world.
Yeah.
So he's kind of got both of those. I guess Skip Bayless is the one that's like, yeah, I'll be really stupid.
Yeah, it's like there's no way you believe what just came out of here. No.
And I mean, they make a lot of money.
They do.
They seem to have fun. So I mean, part of me wishes I could just throw some off the wall stuff out there. And I mean, and going into like what you believe, like I wish I could just be all in on Tennessee this year. I really do. And it's the last like week and a half have been so frustrating because it's not just local media. It feels like everyone's kind of starting to like really get in on some Tennessee love. And I'm like, please shut up.
Yeah.
I don't believe it yet. I'll believe it come August 30th and I'll love it, but like, just stop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think Tennessee's 8-4, 9-3, and I'm not going any higher, any lower than that.
A lot of chalk.
And I hate to be chalk, but it's just like, I think Tennessee will either win all the games they're supposed to and drop an Oklahoma game, or win all the games they're supposed to and beat Oklahoma. I just don't see there's any way. I think this is the best chance Tennessee has to beat Georgia early in the season. Georgia struggled early in the season over the last couple of years. New quarterback for both sides in Neyland Stadium. You're, knock on wood, most likely going to be 2-0. The engagement will still be there from the fan base. But like, I don't see you going to T-Town and beating Alabama. Florida late in the season's tough too.
Well, that's an interesting one. I don't know if we talked about it on the show, Landon, but I think me and you just discussed it. Knowing what we know now, Tennessee's history in Gainesville, it's like you have to pick one: Tuscaloosa or Gainesville. Where you getting the win? I'm like Tuscaloosa. I got that.
Yeah, I mean, we should have won in 2023.
I think you match up okay with them. I agree. Like I don't see it happening. But like if you're like pick one, you have to. I'd go Tuscaloosa before I went Gainesville, and I think Alabama's a better team.
You Tuscaloosa too?
Yeah, I think so. Just because like, I'm kind of with you on Ty Simpson. I gotta see it. I'd rather face Ty Simpson than DJ Lagway.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, I'll go best quarterback in that. So
Sure.
I'll go Ty Simpson. I'd rather play Ty Simpson.
I'm going to say Florida, and here's why.
You don't believe in curses.
Well, it's late in the season.
It is November.
Well, that is true. It's late in the season. I don't know how banged up Florida's going to be.
Yeah, and they're not the depth they used to be.
And I don't know. Like I think Florida's got a really good team, but a lot of those guys have injury history. Their best receiver, Eugene Wilson, coming off a year where he was injured. DJ Lagway the same way. Jaden Ball and Jacoby Jackson, their two running backs, got a little nicked up at times last year, but were remotely healthy throughout the year. But they've got guys on the defensive side of the ball as well that were that way. I think if Tennessee is at that 2-loss spot going into Gainesville and Florida has lost a couple of games, Billy Napier's seat's a little bit hotter, there's a couple of key injuries, I could maybe see Tennessee sneaking out of there with a win. I think that would be more likely than Alabama midseason when they're most likely going to still be at full strength. And if Ty Simpson, all these people are telling me Ty Simpson's going to be good, that'd be the time for him to get rolling. So,
yeah, no, both places, I don't see it happening.
I'm not completely sold on DJ Lagway. I mean, he did.
So here's my problem.
He did throw a ton of interceptions.
Yes, and here's my problem. Action. I'm being influenced very easily by a prepped Netflix documentary.
Yeah,
I like him. He seems like a great dude. Like as a person, I like him. He doesn't seem like an SEC quarterback to me. He doesn't carry himself like it. You mentioned the mentality just doesn't seem there. Again, that is a very carefully crafted Netflix documentary that I am tailoring that take on, and I recognize that. But I'm looking at him, I'm like, I don't know if I believe in him, which is good from a Tennessee perspective.
That is good from a Tennessee perspective. I believe in him.
He's a freak of nature. The fact that like they had Anthony Richardson, and then they also get DJ Lagway, it's like, come on, come on, this is insane.
Yeah, we were talking about that, Florida Tennessee conversation earlier. When I give DJ Lagway praise, my friends lose it. They're like, "Oh, here he goes again." And I'm like, "No, I'm
gator chomping in."
I'm just like, "No, I think the guy's good. Like, I can't get my opinion on him." But
when, oh gosh, dude that beat us in 2023, blanking on his name, tore his ACL.
Graham
Mertz. When he went out, I thought it was over. I did not think we would hold up to DJ Lagway. I mean, he treated Arion Carter to a gift, which was nice, and the interceptions.
I almost feel like if Graham Mertz stayed in that game, we'd probably lose. Looking back on
he had Tennessee's number.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he was not the type of quarterback the rest of the year that he was against Tennessee in both those games.
Yeah.
I mean, the play he got injured on, he got rocked and threw a touchdown pass, right?
Yeah, he did. He got slammed through the touchdown pass. Might have been, can't remember which one who caught it, but I thought Florida was in a tough spot last year playing both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that Napier had to do it just to kind of show a glimpse of what could be and kind of hold on to another year.
Sure.
But if I were a Florida in a normal year, I would have just played Mertz the whole way through or just played Lagway the whole way through. It's tough to do that to a guy like Mertz that had just transferred in, but I thought they put Lagway in a tough spot, having them play like every third drive and then all of a sudden, okay, actually you're starting today, or okay, now go when it's the game and do your little thing. I just don't think it's a great way to get a quarterback ready to go. And
I agree. Sure.
That's why I was glad Tennessee didn't do that with Nico. Like, let Joe Milton play the year out. If that's the best guy available, let him finish the year. We don't need to do this quarterback carousel. Were you guys in the Nico should have played at the end of the year thing?
I never quite got there. Everything we saw, I was like, Joe Milton's winning ball games.
Yeah.
Could he do more? Sure.
But you're at 7-5, you probably have a different conversation.
Yeah, and then Nico in his freshman year, in the limited minutes he got, like never showed just like you're like, oh, where is this?
Yeah.
Why is he not playing? And there were a lot of rumblings that in practice he looked better. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, I just try not to. You never know who that's coming from, how that's coming about. Like someone at the golf course was like, "Yeah, defensive lineman was up here playing and said Nico's way better than Joe." I'm like, "You're not even a Tennessee fan.
and you're believing some guy who just told you played defensive line at Tennessee that the backup quarterback is better than the starter. Okay.
Yeah.
And we were probably, I don't know, 6-2 at that point. I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
That's the oldest rumor in the book.
Yeah.
The guy said that the backup is outperforming the, that's his classic.
So I mean, and it's revisionist history, obviously, but it's like, I think Joe Milton was the best guy for the job.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Yeah.
And I caught a lot of flack for, excuse me, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, Nico showed us in that Citrus Bowl that he can run the football. And then when he's a starter, he barely ran.
Yeah, that is true.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
He had a couple months off after that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some rest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I caught a lot of flack for it. And that was honestly that was my first season on here or here at Fox. And I stayed with Milton the whole year. And a lot of people were really giddy to have Nico play. But I was like, look, I mean, this guy physically is not ready to go play in SEC football.
Right.
And Milton is still winning you games. You're still semi-competitive. Let him finish out the year.
And I think, too, there's something that we don't get to see a lot, but then you hear players talk. They loved him.
Yeah.
They looked at him as their QB1, as their leader. And that's an aspect of those dudes are grown men.
Mm-hmm.
If it boiled down to hey, this guy's better, they're not going to resent Heupel or anybody else for that.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't very clear in what they were saying and the way their body language was around him that they believed in anyone other than him.
Yeah. I think Milton established a lot of respect in 2022 when he was backing up to Hooker, and not even when he came in and played, but just kind of being, in that quarterback room and standing up for Hooker. I mean, that South Carolina game, that week, Milton was heavily involved in that altercation.
Right.
It was Banks was upset with Hooker, and Milton's the one that stepped in. I think that respect was earned despite losing your job in 2022 and having to be that backup role after starting in 21. Just sticking around and continuing to be a leader is what gives you that title of being well-liked and a lot of guys respecting you. And I think that's what Nico lacked last year.
And I think that was an aspect of why I stayed on Joe longer. It's he's not giving up on this team at any point.
No.
And so I think he gets a little bit of a longer leash in my mind. It's kind of like guys like Santiago Vescovi, who I'd get frustrated at Barnes.
Yeah.
Why does this dude have the longest leash on the team? I don't get it. But I'm also if I'm coaching, I get why that dude has a long leash. He fights and claws and he's never quit. And so I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like the whole Joey Aguilar thing. He has I like what you said. He is grateful for the opportunity he has. Come from junior college to App State, and then he deals with this trade almost with UCLA and Tennessee that you kind of pull. I'm pulling for.
Yeah,
and not just because he's a Tennessee quarterback, but it is kind of refreshing to hear him talk about I was going to be a fireman.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened and somebody's like, yeah, just give it one more try. And he's like, now I'm here. I'm so glad it changed my life that people just told me to give it one more go.
Yeah. It's a great story and a guy to root for. And I think he'll be well received from the fan base and a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
What's is basketball, kind of start wrapping it up here. I know we've been on for a while. Is basketball going to be as elite as everyone believes it to be? All right, so, and real quick, are you a basketball guy? Is that your number one sport?
Growing up, basketball was my number one sport, the NBA specifically. I'd say now covering it, college football is my favorite to cover. I just think there's just so many intriguing storylines, and especially I'm really looking forward to this one. I was telling a couple of my friends last week, this is the most prepared I've ever been for any type of season in terms of journalism, just knowing the ins and outs.
Sure.
But college basketball is another one of my favorites too. I really pick up steam when we get into early in January in conference play. I arguably my second favorite outside of the NBA. I love covering college basketball. With this Tennessee team, I think that you've got a unique complexion of guys, at least in the Barnes era, to where over the last couple of years, really ever since Barnes has arrived, you've had a common character from the prior team. Like last year, you had a Zakai Ziegler and a Jemai Meshack, those guys, and a Jordan Gainey as well. that group, that wave. And before that, it was Josiah Jordan-James and Santiago Vescovi. Before that, it was the Grant Williams and Admiral Schofield teams. Like, you've always had that consistent character. And this is the year you don't have one, really.
Right.
I mean, outside of like Felix Akpar is the only returning starter from last year, but that's a guy that just transferred in from Ohio State the year before. There's not really that consistent character here.
Right.
And I think that's what is unique about this season, but is also a credit to Barnes. Barnes is an older coach, and there's been a lot of debate of whether he's going to retire, what he's going to do, but he stuck around. And in the modern era, as a coach that has been coaching for so many years, he is willing to be active and aggressive in the portal and in recruiting.
He loves it.
Yeah. And he's like, and a lot of people, it's almost kind of like people are just waiting on him to come out and say, I'm retiring. He said, I'm coaching until I feel like I'm done. And I love that. And he has that mentality with this team.
Well, it's kind of like old man. We talk about old man golf sometimes. It's kind of like old man recruiting where like he just has to get in the portal. You recruit them for like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
They take one visit and then they're there.
Yeah.
Like it's super easy
He
to
hits the
land a
fairways.
guy out of the portal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Just playing with the woods. Yeah.
But going back to this team where I project for it, I think shooting guard is something you've got to figure out. I think Jacoby Gillespie is going to be really good, and he's a good shooter, shot 40% and above last year at Maryland. I think you'll see some of him playing at the 2 guard and maybe like a Troy Henderson coming in at the 1 to just allow for Gillespie to kind of be that impromptu 2 guard. But in terms of a starter, you've got to identify one. It could be the Berg guy from Israel. There's a couple of transfers that came in that could fill that role as well. I'm excited to see Nate Ament and what he looks like, because he's a guy that's played every position so far in practice, which I think is really unique, and he's going to be a really good player. My only concern with it is once you get into the tournament, is that a freshman that cramps up, or is that a freshman that can will your team?
Right.
That's my only worry about this team. Or my only worry, I should backtrack on that.
Just a big, it's a big,
But a
one.
big concern I have.
Yeah. It's, I think the kind of caveat to that concern is like, yeah, but man, if he is as highly touted, like if he's the real deal, like that's a winner.
Yeah.
That's a dude who goes and wins you games in March.
Yeah.
And like last year, Michigan State had a really good basketball team, but they got even better midway through the year when Jace Richardson started to get hot. And if Ament comes out and he's not the 5-star prospect right away, but grows throughout the season, and by the middle of conference play starts catching wind in his sails and becomes that type of player, then I think Tennessee could go far. Like Michigan State was a team that went all the way to the Sweet 16 Elite 8 last year. And that would be another successful season for Tennessee. Getting over the hump to the Final Four, I think would have taken a Roddy Rice or an Isaac McNeely to commit.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think Tennessee's Final Four good, but I do think they could be right back in that second weekend again.
Yeah, they have a ton of answers or a ton of questions to answer with depth at the guard position.
Yeah.
I really like them in the low post. I like
Mhm.
Carey. I think that was a great get. I like Okpara. Fisher, not Fisher, Cade
Phillips.
And then Estrella. I think those two.
Yeah.
Hopefully Estrella can get healthy. If he is, I
Mhm.
think Tennessee's really good in the low post. But yeah, shooting guard is where I'm like, I mean, how good is
Amari Abrams?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I have an Ole Miss fan that he's like, oh, dude, I love that guy his freshman year. But, I mean,
You can't trust those guys.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder why he was at Louisiana Tech, though. You know?
Exactly. Well,
It was Chris.
Chris
He
Be-
told us Chris Beard ran him off.
Yeah.
That's the story from an Ole Miss fan.
Really?
I don't know. I don't know the details, but that's what I've been told.
But he runs off, though. Why does he end up at Louisiana Tech? Like, why doesn't he end up another Power Four?
Yeah,
That's
you
a
know?
great question.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a great
Who
question.
knows? Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be interesting to see what they look like this year, because it is a totally different team. And I almost think, like, is Gillespie kind of the Tennessee guy that Yeah, he's only been here for a year, but he probably was going to be here last year.
Mm-hmm.
But Zakai was still here.
Yeah.
If Zakai would have left, I think Gillespie probably would have been back here last year. So is he kind of taking over that role of being this is his team?
Yeah, well, I think it's cool that he's a Tennessee kid, from Greenville, went to Belmont, and then went up to Maryland last year. And I love that Maryland team, by the way, the Crab Five. I almost bought a T-shirt. I love them so much.
That's a great name.
And again, I get I tell you, I get so into college basketball right around January. So I love that team. I think Gillespie will be really good. I think he's a really good shooter. I think he's a good playmaker as well. Now, defensively, he's not going to be anything what Zakai Ziegler was, but I think if he's just able to be a good enough defender where he's able to get in the passing lanes and not be a cone defensively, I think he'll be your best player outside of Ament. I go back to that shooting guard position. Berg and Abram are probably your two options there. But again, I wouldn't rule out maybe like Troy Henderson having to step into that role at 1 and then putting Gillespie at 2, because there have been a lot of motions in practice where Gillespie's running 2 as that primary shooter. But you talk about the bigs down low. I think that's a really big plus. My only negative is that none of them can really stretch the floor. So I think you're then putting a lot of stress on being able to hit perimeter shots and have teams respect you from out there and not having a big clog in the paint. But I think Tennessee, again, will be competitive. They will always be competitive under Rick Barnes. He hasn't let us down over the last couple of years. I don't see why it would be this year with a NBA lottery type pick.
Right.
But there is going to be some growing pains, I think, early on. It's not going to be as sexy as it was at the beginning of the year last year.
Some fans hated it, though. That was a big talking point. Did we peak too early?
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a fair assessment, but I mean, still made it to the Elite Eight.
Yes, and I'm of the belief you can never peak too early. You can only fall from the peak too early.
Sure.
And I mean, I guess you could argue, if you're tearing it up in early January, it's probably not going to favor. You're going to run out of gas. Sure, but I mean, good teams are good teams, and they make it. If they're great in January and they're truly great team, they're going to be great in March.
I think the last 2 teams have peaked in March, or maybe not at their full pinnacle peaks in March, but they've made it all the way to the Elite Eight. Like the teams before were really good. I mean, that Kennedy Chandler team in 21 won the SEC tournament.
Yeah. That
was the peak, because then you get into the tournament and you lose to Hunter Dickinson.
A lot of people thought we peaked in mid-February when we go and lose to Mississippi State. We lost to in the first round of the SEC tournament, and then you go to the Elite, that was Sweet 16. Lost to freaking Dusty May. Ugh.
Yeah.
Gross game.
Now he's at Michigan.
Yeah.
More reasons to Ross Kivet and Dusty May are the reasons I hate Michigan.
No Connor Stallions in there?
I respect Connor Stallions.
I mean to cut you off.
I would do that for Tennessee. It's crazy. It's unhinged. If they were like, Caleb, we need you to go advanced scout teams. The fact I don't have a manifesto on how to get Tennessee to the college football playoff and win a national championship makes me feel like a lesser fan.
He gave his all.
Michigan, he literally gave everything.
The University of Michigan and the football program and Jim Harbaugh, they're in the wrong. They should have been punished more. Connor Stallions is just the greatest fan of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He went to the Naval Academy so he could win. He's like, I want to learn to spy so I can win Michigan a national championship.
Honestly, and this might be a hot take. I don't know. But I thought it was blown out of proportion. There are so many different ways to scout teams. And there's all 24 cameras to where you can technically on those all 24 cameras see the type of signs that are going up. I just think there's so many different ways teams are scouting, and possibly
I think it was blown out of proportion a little bit in terms of this is horrible for the game. I think it very much in my college football coaching especially is a fraternity. It's guys kind of know what the limits are, what the lines are.
Yeah.
We talked about this. I don't remember who we were talking to the other day. It was on one of our shows, and I said, I think the worst kept secret in college football is that people are actively trying to infiltrate practices. Everyone's so paranoid. There's not a single coach that's like, yeah, come on in.
Yeah.
That I just think it has to be everyone's trying to get it. And so that's the only thing that makes sense to me on that level. So I think there's just it's one of those, there's lines. And I think a lot of coaches felt like there was a line that they all at some point, unwritten rules of baseball type deal. Like we
Yeah.
agreed. It's because you're right. You can go on all 22, and it's a lot of piecing together stuff. But I mean, I don't know. It's one of those, like, it feels sleazy, man.
Yeah.
To like go pay someone to film.
Yeah.
It's weird. And I think too, it's like
buy tickets.
and everyone knows, I mean, every high school football coach, college football coach, they've got someone in the booth or on the sidelines that they're trying to identify calls during the game that they can see signaled in, whether it's something they've seen on film, whether they saw last year when they played them, whatever it is. They're like, all right, we know they're running right here. We know it's a play action, like whatever it may be. Like that's happening in the play of the game. But you've got a dude with a binder on the side. Like, I don't know. And then, like, again, going into like the sleazy aspect, John Harbaugh's like, I don't even know who that is. It's like he's talking in your ear during the game. And then he's on the Central Michigan sideline. Like, there's just a lot of like sleaziness. It's like
the Central Michigan thing was crazy.
Yeah, I think it's like it's similar to like how the Supreme Court defined pornography. It's like, we can't define it, but you know it when you see it. It's like, that's sleazy behavior. Something about that.
I like that definition. That's
wrong. I don't. Yeah, it's because I agree. Blown out of proportion. Yeah, but then Michigan's just doing all these things. It's like, can you guys not just follow one rule somewhere?
Yeah,
like somewhere do it.
Yeah,
hate them.
I'd pay $20 million for a national championship.
I
think that's a deal.
Well, hey, I mean, let's take this whole Neyland district back a year and let's just get Danny to give you $20 million and get you on a plane, get you going. Syracuse, your first target.
I would have sent, if I was Danny White, I would have told Adidas to write the first check to Indianapolis. Like we're paying for it. So I would have done it. I get it. It's college football. It's full of cheaters. I mean, Bill Belichick cheated at the highest level of it for. They had a guy locked in a room. They had their own Connor Stallions locked in a room doing God knows what.
Well, let's wrap this up.
Yeah. Sorry, it's
you're
long-winded.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good.
We appreciate it.
No, man, I love talking that. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, this has been awesome. Wanted to ask you, like, what is one thing that you would maybe change about like what Josh Heupel is doing with this football program? Like one thing that has to get better, one thing that like just rubs you the wrong way,
or if you just have something for like this year's team.
Yeah,
I'd be interested in that too.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think for Heupel, in terms of the grand scheme of things, I think Heupel has kind of gotten figured out by the SEC teams defensively. And I know the spacing of the field can really be an advantage at times, but I wish that Heupel had another trick up his sleeve, and maybe we see it this year. But when you space these guys so far out, the timing on the routes takes a while to develop. And if you don't have the type of speed at receiver that you had in 2022 with a guy like Jalen Hyatt, makes it really difficult for these guys to win these one-on-one matchups. And I think you saw a lot of that last year where Brew McCoy, a great blocker, but not a guy that could create a whole lot of space off the edge. Squirrel White kind of the same way. Those guys struggled. So, yes, did Nico miss on a lot of deep balls, and that really hurt. But that's also defenses adjusting to that, where they're playing two high safeties, and they're saying, try to win the intermediate stuff, or we're going to go man-to-man, and we've got the guys with the speed necessary to win those matchups. So I'd like to see Heupel try and change things up offensively a little bit. And I know that's such a vanilla, washed up take at this point where everyone's like, come on, Heupel, do something different. But just the spacing part of it, maybe bring him in a little bit closer and try to do stuff a little bit quicker in intermediate wise.
Well, and to your point of like of the spacing and it just creates large gaps.
Yeah.
Do you think the elevated tight end play could be something that helps a lot this year in those quicker routes where there is gaps in the defense?
Yeah. I thought a lot of times last year when Tennessee had some of their most success, it was getting the ball to Miles Kitselman. I mean, look at that NC State game. That's a good example. Even against Georgia, Kitselman was heavily involved. And I love involving the tight end. There's been some talks about 12 personnel being a lot more consistent this year with Jason Brame, who's been really, really impressive in camp, and in addition to Kitselman. So I'd love to see more of that and get those tight ends involved, because if you're not going to have the type of separation necessary from your receivers and the type of speed necessary from these receivers to beat SEC top tier teams, Miles Kitselman is a top 2, top 3 tight end in the conference, top 10 arguably in the country. Get him involved. Use him as a weapon. Use him to your advantage, like you did at times last year. So I guess I kind of tied both of those in, both this year and long term.
Right.
But I just think offense is a huge part of this team under Heupel, and you have the defense has carried weight, at least last year, probably will again this year.
Mhm.
I'd love to see the offense take that step back in the right direction and adapt. I think
Sure.
if I had one word to sum up all that, what I just said, adapt.
And this isn't to say don't adapt, because I agree. I think you have to be constant, especially in this offense where it's not, I don't believe it to be gimmicky. I mean, you're running the football heavily, but I do believe like there's something to Josh Heupel's instinct, or Alex Golish's, whoever it was, their instinct to try to hit on the deep plays in 2022. But so not to say like I don't think they should, but I think the receiver room as a whole got a lot faster. So I think that allows them to play more like they have been, to your point of like you need faster guys. I think that allows them to play more to that, but I still agree, like you got to be a little more creative in how you use those guys, how you run them, and then get the tight end, be more creative in getting the tight ends involved. I agree with that.
Yeah, I also think like rotating at wide receiver, like you want to keep, like you go fast.
We did that a lot last year though.
But I think it's a little different because there
kidding,
is more talent at, there's not a Chaz Nimrod or Caleb Webb. No offense to those guys, but like having, Travis Smith and Rodarius Jackson, those are two totally different receivers than those two.
Well, I think the tough part with the Heupel offense and what you just brought up is Heupel's offense is all predicated on speed and getting to the ball as fast as possible. If you sub, that allows the other team to sub. So then you're losing your momentum that way. I wish it was in a perfect world where you could just sub in and out. We're running to the ball. Whoever's got to get on the field in time. But that's what kind of takes away from what Heupel's system is hard to defend, because when it gets in rhythm and you're able to keep the same guys on the field, those opposing defenders hands on the knees and they're gassed. And when you're a Tennessee team that's practiced it for so long, you're accustomed to it. But when you're not able to get those plays down the field in the passing game and those quick hitters, short wise, intermediate pass routes, then it puts you at a disadvantage, because then the defense is, ready to go once again for another play.
And to add to that, like you talk about like opponents being gassed. Tennessee has to finish. When they get in the red zone, they have to be better at finishing, because that was, like you get them right where you want them, right on the ropes, and then you don't finish, like then that gives that defense
I said that
all the confidence in the world.
I said that on Tuesday with Chase Thomas. Like every single day, we're going Joe Burrow 2019 LSU, ones on ones, red zone, a whole period.
Yeah,
like, we got to get better in the red zone offensively.
That's where Miles Kitselman should come in a ton in the red zone.
Yeah, I would love that. And Joey is a solid athlete too. I mean, I wouldn't say he's like a run first guy, but I mean, I'd love to see him getting involved in some run action as well, because I think the more you can offset a defense and keep them on their heels and guessing, I think the more success you have. At least that's what I do on EA Sports College Football 26.
Hold that backside in, baby.
Yeah.
Don't let him get it down the line.
Yeah.
I have nightmares about Josh Dobbs acting like he's reading that backside end, never doing it.
I mean, hell, it felt like Nico every time he'd clap his hands last year, just do the same motion over and over again.
Yeah. He got pretty good at it. He had an all SEC player. He had a SEC player of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, he was doing something right. Got to hand the ball off.
Yeah.
But if we're sitting here talking about like what Josh Heupel's offense needs to do, he obviously knows like what is being done or like within the SEC of defending him. Like he has to get better at. Like he's an offensive coach. He was here to score points and win football games like that. He has to get better offensively.
Yeah, odd fronts, middle of the field, down the field, I think is where Tennessee had the most struggles last year. And if they're able to fix those, at least two of those three, I think Tennessee will have a much better offensive consistency, because I think consistency is the biggest thing. And, who knows where this team could go. But, I mean, again, I'm still in that 9-3, 8-4 level. We'll have to see what Joey looks
crazy
like.
because
9-3 though. You could have my dream. I want to host a game. I want to host a college football.
You see, so 9-3 is I think 10-2 is the cutoff.
It just depends. It
depends that is true. That is true.
Because I what was I'm trying to remember what my take was. Everyone's like, "You're crazy," and it worked out, and how Tennessee could make it to the playoff. But now, not whatever. So I think a lot of people said 10-2 wasn't going to cut it last year.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I mean, if this works out, it's doable. It's not necessarily gonna happen, but like, it's not a guarantee. 10-2 is not a guarantee. 9-3 is almost an impossibility. But South Carolina was right there on the cut.
Yeah.
At 9-3 last year. So I think it's the right thing. The problem with going 9-3 is you leave it up to everybody else. But it's not impossible.
I think last year, at least going into the year, a lot of people were trying to figure out what that 12-team format would look like, because we had been so accustomed to like that last team in the 4 was 11-1, and like that was what the cutoff was. So I feel like a lot of people were like, okay, 11-1 probably the cutoff. Maybe a 10-2 team sneaks in, but there were a handful of 10-2 teams last year that made it. So
and then it can get real. Like Tennessee could have been left out if Clemson had won the ACC. Like that's where it can really screw you as a 10-2 team if you have the worst, bad record winning. So it depends. 9-3 would be, you better win those 9 games by, it better be no doubters. But
it's crazy. We're sitting here talking about like, we'll go 9-3, and we're like, I just don't know about Tennessee. And like them going 9-3, like, I mean,
5 years ago, it'd been like, man, good season.
Hell yeah. I'm in.
I mean, Danny White, if we go 9-3, he's like 6% increase.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or 1% for every win.
Yeah.
We're going up.
I like it. Do that.
Awesome.
Man, I appreciate it. I know it's been long, so we can be long-winded.
No, man, I am too. Earlier, I was like, man, I'm these guys about to get pissed off at me. I'm just sitting here yapping away. But I love this stuff, man. I appreciate y'all having me on.
Yeah, talk all the time. We'll do it again soon.
Well, you want to kind of tell people where they can find your stuff?
Yeah, at William Patteson on Twitter, and then at the Patifax on Instagram and Twitter. Really trying to grow that, so go check it out there. Do a weekly podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get them from. Listen to me weekly on there as well.
Awesome.
Love it, man. Well, we really appreciate it.
Yep.
We will listen. You can hear from him. I think this is going to be coming out Thursday, so you all can listen to William on Overtime from 6 to 8, and then tune in for more important issues if you're into it. I don't know.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. Hey,
I love that you always introduce us after that.
I have to, man. I got to look. If y'all going to be on the air, I've got to plug y'all.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun. You do a great job, and
Thank you.
yeah, we'll do this again soon.
Let's do it.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.